But the first shot of the movie is a watch, a clicking talk, a ticking clock.
Well, I think it's surprising that nobody's put Electro on film before. Is that just because of the technical challenges of the character? What's going on?
I don't know, but I think for me the potential of a character like Electro is magnificent. I mean, he is eminently visual, incredibly cinematic. I think he's godlike in his power, you know. And because Spider-Man's become such a badass, he's so good at being Spider-Man. You need to come up with foes that have very impressive characteristics and powers. You know, I think I like the idea of a villain that you know, when you come close to him, your hair starts to raise. When you touch him, it's like the force of 1,000 third rails, you know, ramming through your body. And I think that's really terrifying. How does Spider-Man stop somebody when his webs that are his, you know, primary weapon conduct electricity? How do you do that? How do you do it? I don't know. Well, I do know. But I think that was a really exciting obstacle to put in front of Spider-Man. And then, you know, it was fun to think about not just Electro, but where Electro comes from, you know, like, and that's, to really understand Electro, we have to understand Max Dillon. And Max Dillon is somebody who is Max Dillon's a character that may not have been loved as much as he should have been loved by those who should have loved him, you know. And I think that created in him a sense of unworthiness and maybe shame. And I think in these kinds of mythology, that sense of shame, which, like, Peter felt something like that when his uncle died. You know what I mean? And shame and feelings of unworthiness are universal precursors to one of two things: an act of heroism, like Spider-Man becomes a hero, or an act of destruction. You know, it just depends on the nature of your character, you know, and how you're going to channel that feeling, and whether you're going to be greater than what you suffer.
So I really want to know if Black Cat is going to have her bad luck powers, and if she does, how do you visualize that?
I don't even know if Black Cat is in the movie. Sorry, what? Over the course of many films?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
what?
Does that mean that the villains don't necessarily have to die in this one? That, like, some of them might extend into the third film?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, listen, part of the fundamental concept, the conceit of the universe that we're making is that it started, like, in that first movie, you know, we teased out, for example, Norman Osborn. You know, he was an entity, he was around, but you didn't see him on screen. But that allows you to unfold stories over a longer period of time, and so that you can create a sort of more nuanced, complex world. The Rhino is in the movie for a very short time because we're sort of teasing out the possibility of something more interesting happening there.
Okay. Well, and also kind of talking about that world, I mean, everybody talks about how Marvel can reintegrate Spider-Man, but sort of beyond that, when it comes to, like, these secondary minor characters, what are the conversations you have about, like, who you're free to use and not use that they might want to use?
Yeah, there's a list of characters that somebody has that you know, have been licensed. I don't really know exactly how deep that goes, but you know, Marvel are close collaborators, and we talk to them, and there's obviously, you know, a relationship there, and there's some characters that exist in one universe and some that exist in others, and you know, how much overlap there is above my pay grade.
People were thinking that the first Peter Parker was, like, too cool. I mean, were you, like, reading into that reaction, and did you feel like you should take a note of that here?
No, I think, listen, my idea of Peter Parker was, you know, he's not, like, and if you look at the comics, I don't think he was a nerd in the way that people think that he was a nerd. There was, you know, girls liked him, and there is an outsider quality to Peter Parker that I think is fundamental to that character. And that element continues on. I mean, I think to me, he's more of a playful trickster than he is a nerd. But I think he's got a charm and a wit that is really important to Spider-Man.
Well, nerds just really want him to be a nerd.
Nerds are running the world. Nerds aren't nerds anymore.